Hello, young road here, and welcome to my channel. What I want to talk about today is filtering, or if you live the other side of the pond, they call it lane splitting. Some places they call it white lining, but I'm concentrating on here in the UK. So, watch the intro. So, back to filtering. In the UK, is it legal or is it illegal? Well, I'm sorry, motorists, car drivers, it's absolutely legal. So when you see a bike filtering bike, don't lose your rag, get out your car and start using offensive language. We're doing nothing wrong. It is perfectly legal to filter here in the UK. However, there is a caveat to this. Things can get a little bit more complicated when you approach a pedestrian crossing with zigzags. Here, filtering is illegal. If you filter past a moving vehicle that is closest to the crossing, or the stationary vehicle that is closest to the crossing. Essentially, this means it's basically legal to filter past queuing traffic on the approach to the crossing, but not the vehicle that is closest to the crossing. It could have stopped to allow a pedestrian to cross. So, do not filter on the zigzags. So, although it's legal, what we have to bear in mind is there is a very fine line between what the police would class as filtering and dangerous overtaking. So, an example, if you've got a motorway and there's 3 lanes of traffic, say let's move in slowly at 40-50 miles, and you're thinking, well, hang on, this is a 70 mile an hour limit, I can filter through this traffic at 60 mile an hour. The chances are, if you were seen doing that, you could get a pull, because that would be classed as dangerous overtaking and not filtering. It should also be noted that if you have a bit of an accident while filtering, it can cause problems insurance wise. I've known actually this happened to 2 people. Both had an accident while filtering through traffic. Both insurance parties, well, companies I should say, they were basically arguing whose fault it was. The car wanted the bike's insurance company to pay, and vice versa. In the end, actually, the biker did win, and the car's insurance paid for the damage to both vehicles. But however, his bike was off the road for a couple of months while they were arguing this fact. The other scenario, here again, went on for about 6 to 8 weeks, and it ended up where both insurance companies decided to just pay for their insured driver/riders damages. So, the actual blame was split both ways. The rider assured me it was the car's fault, but here again, how long do you want to wait being off the road and argue these things out? So, in this case, both companies paid out, and both partners obviously would have lost their no claims bonus or had the claim logged against them. There is a school of thought that is known as the 2020 rule, and basically it says filtering is safe as long as the traffic you are overtaking is travelling at no more than 20 mile an hour, and you are overtaking them at no more than an additional 20 mile an hour. So this rule will actually cap filtering speeds to 40 mile an hour, and it's a thought that the police will not really intervene with anyone filtering at that speed. Again, however, it is worth stressing that this is a school of thought rather than a hard and fast rule. So before I start filtering, the first thing I'm going to assess is the road layout. And are there solid white lines there? Are there any no overtaking signs visible? And also, is there a pedestrian crossing in front, as I mentioned earlier? The next thing I'm going to assess is the road surface. Is it wet? Is it going to be more slippy? Then I look at the actual gap. I mean, is there actually enough room for me to filter? I'm not riding a little 50cc moped where I can nip and weave in and out all over. My GTR 14 is a big bike, and if I'm loaded up with panniers because we're going on a tour and there's me and the wife on it, I will adjust that differently as I would if I was got no panniers on and riding on my own. Might try and filter through up here a bit. Let's see what we can do. Even saved a space for me out of that. Lovely. Just politely say thank you to the guy behind me. Pictured here are a couple of illustrations about filtering. One is general filtering and one is near junctions. I tend to not filter either at the start of the traffic jam or at the end of the traffic jam, as this is when the cars are going to be more likely to change in lanes, lane hopping without no indications, no mirror checks or anything. Once I think everyone's settled into the queue and the acceptor in the queue, then that seems to be a little bit safer. You will get a little bit less lane hopping. Likewise, when you get to the end of the queue and people all of a sudden can now start to make progress and get up to speed again, here again they will be just chopping and changing lanes willy-nilly and not really giving a care for anybody else around them. So there are two times I will not filter. So by filtering past slow moving or stationary traffic, we're going to make time gains even at low speeds. But if the traffic's moving faster, not only do we have to increase our speed to get by, but you're going to have more chances of lane hopping with all the vehicles moving at higher speeds. So you've got to weigh up, is that worth the risk, for the amount of time you're going to save? The majority of cars just wouldn't even realise or be aware that somebody might be filtering. They're just sitting in their car, moving forward short distances at a time. And to be fair, why would they want to check the mirrors if they're just happy staying in their lane? Now granted, if they want to move from one lane to another, then they should check the mirrors to make sure it's safe to do so. But it's the ones who don't do that. They are the ones that are a danger to us. So at the end of the day, we must make sure that we're travelling at a speed that is suitable, so that should one of these clowns pull out in front of us and change lane, we are in a position to stop safely. Without doubt, in my opinion, the worst offender is the driver who knows you're filtering, but he don't want you to. Basically, he's stuck in this traffic, so why should you be any different? What gives you the right to get by him? I've had it happen to me many a time when I've been filtering down traffic and the cart is deliberately pulled out so I can't get by. I then even changed my position so I can filter the other side, just to prove a point. And then he moves his position back over again. He don't want you to get by him. So although filtering is legal in the UK, we have to bear in mind it is more risky. There is more risk of some form of accident. So how do we basically reduce this risk? Well, one is just to have your eyes everywhere, concentrate on what's happening. And the other is obvious, just reduce your speed, so that if anyone does pull out or do the unexpected, you're in a position where you can stop safely. So I hope there's been some interesting points in this video. If there has been, please do the ticks, like and subscribe. And as always, take care, ride safe, and bye for now.